Hello there, my name is James and welcome to Demo Discussion, where I talk about a certain demo's content, giving my own opinion on games in a short manner and also sharing stories of nostalgic past. Today's demo is a very special one at that because I like to call this one the content filler. This rare PlayStation Silver disc came out in 1999 and is an absolute rarity to come across by. I lost my old copy in the past, sadly, but after several look-throughs on eBay, I managed to find a copy from Spain for $15. Just because it's rare doesn't mean it's absolutely expensive. But enough with the ooh la la, and let's take a look into this rare PlayStation demo disc that I have cherished ever since I was a little kid. I think my brain is about to melt from overload getting into this. Where should I begin? Well, before inserting the disc, if we ignore the orange scribbling on top, the silver disc has dots literally wording out demo disc, for those that didn't know what it was. When we boot it up, there's a language option which is quite odd to see in demo discs. Usually it'd be in the game, but this demo was released throughout Europe, so you've got the English, French, German, Italian, and Spanish languages. The menu screen has a different style to it than most of the previous demos I've covered. These blue, swirling, dotted square snakes motioning in the background and sort of architectural grid boxes for the game icons to pop up grant a pulse of life of the menu. The thing that makes this all memorable for me is the colour. The deep sea blue mixed with a hint of turquoise adds a vibe to the screen that'd be screensaver worthy. If my appraisal for a menu of a demo disc wasn't enough, we have the music, which to some might sound familiar. Those 8 bars of 90s electronics repeated on this here demo are sure brilliant. There's a depth of mystery and dread with a tinge of exploration from those 8 bars, and it's something worth listening to when in need of soothing the mind. But enough dawdling, time to roam through time in Bugs Bunny, Lost in Time. Just a side note here, what's grand is before you enter the demo you choose, a screen of the controls appear giving you some assistance if you don't know what to press. Great stuff. Anyway, Looney Tunes as a child was a part of my life, along with Tom and Jerry, Spider-Man, and Biker Mice from Mars. I'd always slot a Merry Melodies VHS tape into the player and watch for ages, especially if Sniffles was in it. Anyone remember Sniffles? No? Of course not. Continuing on, I had no clue that Looney Tunes games existed, so when I played this special demo that's first choice was Bugs Bunny, I flipped out and immediately tried it out. Lost in Time's demo focuses on the Stone Age levels, and the intro showcases a caveman Elmer Fudd preparing a hunt for rabbits to these dum-dums with eggshell heads. Bugs appears and Shazam, we're out of there, and the level begins. As a kid, I used to always imitate the eggshell caveman bad guy people. Wabbit, wabbit!
Yeah, wabbit, wabbit!
And then I realized that I was sounding like Barney Gumble from the Flintstones. Hiya, Fred! Where's Wilma? I think I just died inside a little. So, Bugs Lost in Time is a 3D platformer, and it's a pretty good one at that. Like other collectathon games where you would collect stars, crystals, or jiggies, in this, we collect clocks, as well as golden carrots. Because time and fortune is the way of life, especially in Warner Brothers' eyes. The fact that this is a platformer, you can of course do the jumping and the platforming, and Bugsy Baby handles tightly getting around places. The main irritation in some areas is the camera. At times, it likes to have a little fight and not go your way. Alright, now with the basic stuff out of the way, I want to chat of my young experiences of this here game. You see Barney the dinosaur's second cousin over there, chowing on some greenery? I was afraid of jumping on his head. Main reason being, I hated falling down pits like Wile E. Coyote in any video game. I'll hint upon that more in later demos to come, but I hated heights and couldn't stand the thought of falling so far below, so I'd get someone else to do those obstacles for me. Oh golly gee whiz, the animations are such splendor and ooze Looney Tunes style. The bounciness of the trampolines, the way Bugs dives into rabbit holes, squashing an enemy, and Bugs' motion grant that cartooniness atmosphere. The lazy look on the dinosaur's face is priceless and gets me every time. Look at this dazed bastard, he don't give a damn if you jump on him. Elmer Fudd is randomly planted in the level, and at first it seems like a boss fight, but he's actually a platform to get past the level. There's a second part of the level that includes more clocks and gold carrots to find, but the main piece of this land is the sleeping pterodactyl, in which you need to sneak past to dive in the rabbit hole. He's quite the nosy beak. When Bugs gets to the rabbit hole, it informs of it taking you back to the time machine, which should end the demo, but rather instead gives an Elmer Fudd boss battle. And it's quite the fun boss battle at that. Bugs dives into the rabbit holes and gives Elmer a good kick in the butt 3 times and he's down for the count. And it all ends with an end card, advertising the full game, and 15 years ago, I rented it out. Up next, we have Crash Team Racing. What's quite the interest of CTR's demo is that instead of putting up 3 different tracks for both single player and multiplayer action, 1P, 2P, and 4P get separate tracks each. 2-player has Dingo Canyon and 4-player includes the snow one from what I recall. The 1-player mode, which I shall be playing, contains Papu's Pyramid. Hell to the air, this game is pure dope to the gaming brain. The 2 F words I'm looking for are fast and fun. Say what you will about this being a Mario Kart clone, but hey, it's a really good clone. Can't we have the best of both worlds? I can for sure. Obviously, I'm a little rusty, but I'll get back in the game. This track is the stuff of legend, by the way. The popping music that's excellent for getting about the place, the amazing ramps and ledges for airtime, the awesome shortcuts I can't reach through, the tight corners of this area which slow you down if not passed wisely, the stupid piranha plants that gobble you up if you get in their path, the douchebag AI that attack for out of certain seconds with no remorse. Oh god, I absolutely hated this track as a kid. But it holds a special place in my soul that I cherish elegantly so. It all looks very nice, the track is fun, and I love Crash Team Racing either way, but before we press on, let me address the polar bear in the room. That smug face needs to be shown in the Louvre or any international museum, because that face is perfection. Crash's face comes in a close second, though. Crockety crock number 2. I've got a few things to cover about Croc 2, so buckle up. First of all, I love this title screen with the gobbo furballs on vacation at the beach. A nice toad to settle through, and the theme of Croc is back to full overture just in case you missed hearing a jingle in your ear. Included in the demo is one level from the game, and oh my, the memories are about to be leaked from my brain to you that is watching right now. Time to talk upon my stupid kid self. Oh, here we go. I assure you that everything I came across in video games in my younger years either scared me or left me stumbled. These spike pits that surrounded most of the area caused young James to not go across the bridge or jump a gap in case I fell. Not only that, there was this urge to stay away from enemies. I didn't want to touch them, especially this red Muppet pirate with legs. Don't ask why, because even I have no clue why. Maybe from all the death and frustration from the first game got the better of me. So that meant I didn't pass the frickin' bridge that leads to the beginning of the level. Only till I grew some confidence did I scour through the rest. Now, you know, I was a massive wimp in video gaming, that's nice to know. Anyway, what do I think of this level? I find it to be a sunny day at the beach, just littered with irritating mosquitoes, caves with no sunscreen lotion, a hungry hippo that isn't getting any white balls, and of course, jelly! I did forget how slick Croc moves when you're running in motion. Has an elegant ease for a character that usually pertains to a tanky control. One thing that perplexed my thoughts as a kid was why Crash didn't jump into the Croc universe, belly flop on the big question mark boxes to get those gems instead of hitting every box to get one. I figured every PS1 game were linked, but of course I was a kid at heart. The vines are pretty cool, and the water below looks like radioactive slime. The more you know. My major memories of Croc 2 don't thoroughly come from the PS1 version, but the PC copy that I lent from the library. Kinda surprised I got through it all in my Windows 98 back in the day. I'd personally say I like Croc 2 more than 1, they're pretty similar though. When you save the Gobbo, he tells Croc that he'll have more adventures in Croc 2, which for Croc doesn't make too much sense. Croc has to buy his own game to continue his adventure that he's in. What gives, Gobbo? And another end card appears with these quite funny Gobbos in these costumes. Here's a fighting game that you might not know. Destraga? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm gonna go with my way of saying it, Destraga. Like I said, it's a fighting game, and for the demo, we can only access the Versus mode, which is fine by all means. 2 characters are available for playability, Grad and Melina, looking devilishly sexy I must say, but Grad's pose freaks me out a bit. Is he ready to give me a prostate examination or something? Ooh. Not with that glove he's not, but the main attraction for me is the wavy background, swishing like the ocean sea. I choose Melina, of course, and we have ourselves an open area fighting game. I rarely see that nowadays. Instead of a locked camera on the 2 opponents in a fighting stance mano a mano, you can freely run and use these pretty awesome sorcery spells. The characters swoosh all about the arena and builds fast tension on winning. I suck, so the AI is basically torturing me with a whammy of spells. If there's something that knocks this game out of the park for me, it's the brilliant battle music. True synth rock at its finest and gives a mood of I'm gonna beat you to a pulp and I might actually lose to you all around. That's all for Destraga, a fun fighting game that couldn't be considered cheap, but not savagely expensive too. Except for the promo disc. Jesus. Devil Dice is going to be tough to explain because I want to tell you how to play without acting like a teacher and show you without explaining why it's uniquely entertaining. Before I do so, look at this cute little devil. One of the most adorable things I've ever seen in a video game and should be credited more often. You can move the little devil on the square lettered spaces on the menu, and if you move him too fast, it trips over and the feeling of guilt will linger on forever. I'll start off with trial mode to give you a horrible example of how to play this game. Here we are, a gridded field filled with large dice blocks, and simply, the goal is to roll your dice and slam and jam strike on a set of the same number to rack up score points before the timer goes out. Hopefully you can get an understanding of how it plays just by looking at it, because it's quite simplistic once you get the hang of it, grasping it as your focus. You know I'm exceptionally spectacular at Devil Dice when I get an overall score of 41, when I should be achieving these scores in the least. I don't mind it at all though, because slam and jam and strikes on dice is immensely satisfying to the core. Battle and Wars mode are basically multiplayer modes of Trials and have to rack up the highest score to defeat them. There's a nice demo mode for the both of them to take a gander at for those wanting to see the carnage. But my favourite mode, which is great for starting up Devil Dice, is Puzzle mode. As you can see, it's a brew of different puzzles where you have to match the dice nicely. The best thing about this is losing, because you get to listen to one of the best voices on all of gaming. If you find Devil Dice out in the video game jungle, I suggest you buy it and give the game a shot if you love puzzle games with a unique flavour. Magnifique. Gran Turismo 2. Now, if you've been watching the previous demo discussions, Gran Turismo has been covered a fair amount, to the point where I really don't know what to discuss. So, Gran Turismo 2 is a sequel to Gran Turismo and looks pretty similar to the first installment, with the differences entitling towards the menu, HUD and tightening of the controls. Subtle, but enough to make it new. The sound effects for pressing icons is different, still cool in its own right. The big addition is the new tracks to race on, and the track for this here demo is set in Roma, Italia. The game may be dated to some graphical degree, yet manages to have a stunning look towards the scenery, the cars and the atmosphere on this dish of content. You get to see old buildings, the Colosseum, signs, and of course, me driving absolutely abhorrently. Maybe I've lost my racing spirit or something? Nevertheless, second last isn't too bad for my record, and that pretty much cuts it. for Gran Turismo 2. Another gaming hotline to fill disk space, what a surprise. I talk less about it, but it has quite the futuristic charm to it. There's this holographic globe that you can turn to look for your specific country and get your information on the hotline, which I've never used and never will. The effects are pretty neat, not bad at all for a little advertising. Alas, we're here for the games. Up next is
Ridge Racer!
Type 4, a fun racing classic from my childhood and still one of my favourite races today. There's a nice style to Type 4, mostly in the menu screen with the beaming neon lights, the beautiful rich yellow background colour on the title, yet most importantly, the indication that this is an interactive demo. It doesn't shy away of immediately getting into the race whatsoever too. Now, Gran Turismo, if I'm to compare the two, has a much more tight control, kind of like how a real vehicle would motion. It's not called the real driving simulator for nothing. Ridge Racer accumulates in the arcadey department, still maintaining some solid controls for drifting around corners. Enough with comparing what is it like as a solo racing game. Simply put, Type 4 is fantastic, delivering so much energy in racing, locations, music, and speed. As you can see for yourself, the demo lets you partake in a nighttime stroll, race, through the Tokyo freeway. And my gum-drop buttons, the atmosphere and visual presentation of this nighttime is immensely captivating, even if I'm focusing on the road for the most part. No doubt about it, going through the faded orangey yellow tunnel has to be the best moment of the race. The 90s electronic music is some of the greatest race music in existence. Just have a listen to this. I believe there's a lot to discuss on this Type 4 demo. I even have a story. But I should leave that information for later because Ridge Racer Type 4 will surely be in another demo I'll be covering further down the line, but to end it off, I came third. Not too bad at all. Spyro 2? Spyro 2? No, I'm not ready to talk about this now. Oh, hey! Yeah, look, it's Spyro 2. You know, I'd love to talk about this demo of Spyro 2 in massive detail, because trust me, I have a lot to say. And I mean a lot. Like, if I was to do a review on the entire game, it would probably extend to the size of a feature-length movie runtime. So to save 20 minutes of your time, I'll grant you what's given in the demo. You get 2 levels to choose from, Skelos Badlands or Sunny Beach. And before you choose, it starts off with a book advertising the game. So take a look. This is football. Well, they got that title right. Some people might be confused though. From what I know, there's 3 kinds of football. In Australia, we have AFL football where you kick an oval-shaped ball within an oval-sized arena, and you gotta kick the ball within the 4 poles, granting 6 points in the middle and the left and right sides with 1 point. In American football, you can carry the ball from one end of the rectangular court to get a touchdown, plenty of tackling involved, and kickoffs. Also, in terms of other countries, I'd say it'd be called rugby. Other regions of the world, rugby, yep. And football in England is generally known as soccer, where you actually kick the ball and score a goal from one end of the battlefield. I don't know about you, but my head is mind-boggling after thinking about that. I don't care for either of these footballs in general, go nuts if you want nevertheless. If I had to say which one I would call football, I'd say this. You're kicking a ball with your foot through the whole game! Sometimes headbutts. Oh my god, this has been going on for too long. It's a football game. Next. Now this is more up my alley, or skate park, whatever. Although I never gained the ability to ride a skateboard myself, I still had a fond fascination with the tricks and stunts that could be accomplished with a plank of stylized wood on top of 4 wheels. Even though I wouldn't gain the courage of taking the helm of my own board, I was always able to gravitate towards the Tony Hawk video games. Pro Skater 2, 3, 4, Underground, Underground 2 and American Wasteland are my absolute favourites from the series, but Tony Hawk skateboarding was what got me into the fiesta of boards and ska bands. Looking back at it now, it's nothing too special. Controlling Tony about is quite chunky and funky when swerving about the park, still accomplishable to a T pulling off tricks otherwise. This place, this shed, it all comes back to me, man. The memories of listening to Gerald was a race car driver whilst failing to do a single great trick instead of the lame done it before Ollie. Soaring up high from the ramp trying to stop Tony to watch the large screen, playing skating footage, trying to grind on the rails, it all comes back to me, like the smell of an old friend's potpourri garnished house. And the timer runs out. And you know you have to go back home in time for dinner, asking mum the big question. Could I have $50 to buy a Tony Hawk Pro Skating? The massive 2-letter word is screeched like a sonar, soaring into the town's ears. Afterwards, silence. Not a word. You eat your chicken, chops, and 2 carrots on the plate. Walk into a small room with a PlayStation, ready to be played, and it's none other than Whip Free Out or Wipeout Free if you want to be specific. I believe I've covered the first Wipeout game in Demo 1, and now we're heading straight to the one that is considered the best out of the series. And it is. This racetrack alone is embedded into my brain's data system and will never leave. This thin and drawn out shortcut remains as an iconic shortcut with bumps and speed boosts along the way. I love the way this futuristic city looks like with its tunnels and living train life with bleak grey colouring, which makes the other contrasting colours such as the power up and speed pads and vehicles pop out. And the detail is immaculate to this day. Wipeout Free has aged greatly. Can't forget about the awesome power up announcer and the sign before the start of the race too. I don't have too much of a professional description on the controls, all I could really say is that they're quite groovy and swift. Managing to not hit the sides in a single lap feels like an absolute accomplishment and feels tight, as well as speeding through and surpassing other opponents. The power-ups are pretty neat, like the autopilot mode. This demo does a nice job of making it a challenge, but not making it too difficult for players to get into. Unlike the first Wipeout demo where coming first requires some retries. And if you come first, you unlock a special vehicle to be used on the same race, which is much better in every aspect. All I need to say is, what a grand way to end this demo. And that's the entirety of this rare PlayStation demo from 1999. A massive trip of games galore, a stylistic presentation that sticks to me like glue, and oh my god, the bloody music sticks like glue. Lovely doubly. So, as always, I bid ye farewell, and I'll see you in the next rendition of Demo Discussion. Bye bye! Oh god, fuck. Damn it.